Hi there. Good morning. Welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Neeraj Shah, and interesting day of trade up ahead. Some local macro cues which will impact and benefit. I'll get to those in a bit. First, what the world markets are up to. Well, the US markets did okay. I mean, the futures, about a third of a percent or thereabouts. So nothing great, but nothing too bad either. Just about steady state for the US markets. The Nasdaq, of course, did reasonably okay. Very interestingly, though, while the tech sector is doing what it is doing, there is this observation from Morgan Stanley, and different brokerages and different investors have different observations. But Morgan Stanley, there's this chart on the Bloomberg terminal which shows this, that the Morgan Stanley is seeing echoes of the dot-com era in the current tech sector. And if you look at this chart, I mean, this is the S&P 500 IT index. The price to sales ratio, the numbers are pretty similar to the numbers that they were back in 2000. Now, will it mean that the sector will come off? I'm not a US technology expert, to be honest. I'm just bringing out the data here and telling you what Morgan Stanley is saying. A lot of people will argue that the tech sector right now is materially different and stable companies, global companies, and all of which is true as well. So not necessarily the same would happen. But the valuations are pretty interesting to see. Morgan Stanley finds them interesting. Let's put it that way. Okay, back to markets. Asia, I think doing reasonably okay. Nothing too dramatic. A couple of indices are up. In fact, okay, I stand corrected. Most of the indices are up, which is actually not a bad sign. Early morning, there was some expectation of some Chinese data, and therefore a couple of markets were slightly flattish. But for now, it seems to be a good going all along, and the SGX Nifty would probably echo that. We should have a start in the green. I mean, irrespective of what the SGX Nifty says, and we'll bring it up for you, but we'll have a start in the green. So yeah, the going is robust. The question is, can we do better than this? Let's wait and watch how the trade set up. So frankly, actually, just before I get to the trade setup, a couple of things. One, the MOV function to tell you what happened yesterday. Then we'll also just take a quick check at the macro data that came out post-trading hours yesterday. So first, the market breadth was extremely positive. You had all of these Equitas, Ujjivan, etc. doing well. Edelweiss continues to shine. India Bulls Real Estate, the expectation is that it's somewhere during the end of the month, the names India Bulls Real Estate, of course, is not an India Bulls company anymore, as we all know. So Embassy Group name comes in, and will that change things materially? Let me know. Shilpa Medicare is the stock in news, and I'll tell you that why in a bit. So a lot of very active products which were in focus yesterday. So good going all around. Very few losers. The ones which came off, some downside there for Just Dial, Metropolis, etc. But hardly any losers. Largely, we had stocks which were doing well, and therefore that's a good sign. Oil cooled off, and therefore Oil India, ONGC, HPCL, etc. all of them came off a little bit, but the gainers were right up there for all of us. Then the macro data that came out post-market as yesterday was interesting. CPI and IP. CPI lower than estimated, largely. IP larger than estimated. Industrial output fell about 8% over April, but still slightly above estimated. And CPI inflation at 6.26 remains above RBI target, yes. And core inflation did inch up, yes. But I think this data still should bring up some cheer, because the expectations were much higher. And I think that's what, to my mind, I think that's the key thing. So if you look at my trade setup today, one, the overall global positives and the overall global sentiment should aid selective buying for sure. But I do think that the bond markets and BFSI stocks could cheer the macro data that came out yesterday. Let's wait and watch. I might be wrong, but I do think that this is what will happen. Now, you would remember for the last, sporadically, but for the last so many weeks, I've been talking about consolidation and buying in real estate. Local dealer desks and global FI desks also saw real estate stocks buying. Now, post macro tech or LODA's, the sales update that came in, that stock has gone up. India Bulls Real Estate went up. Yesterday, DLF went up. So real estate theme is now starting to play out. And that's what happens, right? You won't get gains immediately, but the theme is starting to play out. So don't be in a hurry to get out of these stocks. We're seeing some major moves after a number of weeks and months of consolidation. It's pretty interesting. I'm now hearing that Midcap Pharma is starting to see accumulation at dealer desk. It's not around Sun Pharma, Cipla, etc., those may do well. But what's seeing accumulation is the next tier of stocks, some API themes, some specialty pharma themes. So do watch out for some of those. They could be interesting stocks to monitor. A couple of interesting results today. Mindtree, I will watch out for it because it kind of gives us a tone of what the results are likely to be. And Tata Metallics for Midcap IT, I mean, Tata Metallics could be interesting as well. And then, of course, we have some other important data to watch out for, which is the WPI data tomorrow, as well as the EXIM and trade balance data that comes out Thursday. So all of this should be materially watched out for. What are the stocks to monitor in the session today? There are a couple of brokerage notes, which I'll come to a bit later on. But first, the telecom subscriber additions. So Bharti, Jio, and V all in focus. So Jio, Bharti, Vodafone Idea added about 4.8, 0.5. Actually, Vodafone Idea lost out 1.8 million again. Bharti's muted performance is believed to be due to COVID. So just look at the differential, right? Overall subscriber added, Jio at 4.8 million plus, Bharti just about 0.5 million. So this may be due to COVID, but Jio in the same performance with the same COVID measures actually outperformed peers. It added 35 lakh active subscribers compared with 6-month average of 22 lakh. So it actually outperformed peers and also did better than its own averages as well. So frankly, the winner for the April editions is Jio. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the subsequent months, but this is just fabulous what Jio has done. I wonder if Bharti and Vodafone Idea have some negative reactions today, Vodafone Idea in particular. So let's wait and watch. They are in the midst of raising that fundraise and all of that, which has actually been a perennial exercise with V. So I don't know what will happen on the positive side to V, but this is certainly not great news. Let's wait and watch. Shilpa Medicare, you have to keep in mind that the stock was up 10% or 9.56% to be precise, ahead of the announcement which came in. They're going to spin off the API business into 100% subsidiary company. Now, a lot of companies are figuring this out. They're saying that they want to focus on a particular branch, which is oncology or what have you. But the spin-off essentially generates shareholder wealth. The promoter is invested in promoter wealth. And therefore, we as minority shareholders or whoever is invested as minority shareholders should be happy. But keep in mind that the stock was up and about ahead of the announcement. And therefore, you got to figure out that if you are getting into it afresh, one, if you believe that this will create wealth, maybe it does, but two, whether there is more juice left. And this chart is lovely, right? Because it just shows you over the 3-day performance, how it is done. But yesterday, 12 June, just how the stock went up. It's just some of these announcements are porous, right? People get to know about them a lot before you and I would get to know about it officially. But yeah, this is interesting for Shilpa Medicare. Some other stocks in focus. Ashoka Buildcon, they received an LOA from NHAI for a 726 crore bid. So it's not a very large order, but it should help them. FDC, I must tell you, viewers, keep in mind, a lot of people, and officially putting it out today, but I think this announcement was out yesterday during market hours, so keep that in mind. But they've launched the first oral suspension of Favipiravir. Now, again, whether or not this materially makes sense, who knows? I mean, the reports, of course, right, of Fabiflu now not being recommended as a drug as well. And so many people say ivermectin is such a fabulous drug, it's not recommended, don't know why. So I don't know how much of an impact does this have on FDC, but be that as it may. And I think messages floating around about shareholding patterns showing some fairly marquee HNI investors invested in Shemaru Entertainment, multiple names floating around, one of them being Dolly Khanna. So please do your own due diligence, but the stock may be active. I'm just telling you why this could be active. So watch out for these as well. Some stocks based on derivative data. So a lot of very active stocks continue to stay in an F&O ban, including Granules India, which has now been added to this F&O ban list. But SAIL, NMDC, Vodafone Idea, you can't go out and take a short position out there. It continues to be in an F&O ban. But SAIL, a lot of people want to go long, can't take a long because it's an F&O ban. And Granules India now added to that list. And a couple of stocks to be added to the F&O list from 30th July include an Astral as well as Strides Pharma. So, well, these could be interesting as well. Now, just a couple of brokerage notes. I haven't given graphics for them, but just hear me out. So Macquarie's come out with a note on OMCs. I was telling you about how HPCL was down yesterday, but they are saying that into year-end 2021, they continue to expect cyclical improvement in refining margins. And HPCL is a buy for them with a target price of 516. So do watch out for HPCL in the session today. Do watch out for Suntech Realty. CLSS come out with a note with a target price of 440. Now, all of these companies, right, because of the bonanzas being given out by specific states or because of the consolidation move, what have you, all of these companies stand to gain. Real estate is a sector that somehow all of us should study, and all of you who invest in these stocks should have a keen eye for what is a good real estate stock in which you might want to invest in. The qualifying factor out here is a good, safe real estate stock. Eventually, money will be made out there. That's what almost everybody seems to be saying. Look at this, the last 12 months, everything has done well. So Nifty Realty is no exception. But some of the companies have given fabulous returns, and some of these might continue to do so over the time to come. So keep in mind, real estate looks to be a pretty special pocket right now. Sell side, FI, dealer desks, everybody seem to be liking it. Last but not the least, what stood out is a global thing, but big price disparity in plastic prices between Asia and Europe. So and Europe and US. So look at this. The top two, of course, are what's happening in Germany, for example, and Southeast Asia is below. And you can see how the differential in prices, such a massive differential in prices for the same product, simply because of the shipping issues, right? There's no guarantees being taken, etc., and stuff like that. And therefore, for the same product, the price differential that exists between Europe and US on one side versus Asia on the other side is pretty astounding. Wherever the production is happening, the prices are pretty low. Where it's not, and transport and shipping might be difficult to predict, the prices are shooting through the roof. Pretty interesting. If you're traveling, lug plastic, sell it out there. I was just kidding. Well, thanks so much for tuning in today to the Trade Setup. Have a safe day ahead. Have a profitable day ahead. And if you're stepping out, please mask up.